I'm currently dwelling on the cinematography concepts, specifically leading lines, depth of field, shallow focus, rack focus, and bokeh. I'm imagining how these would translate into a soft novel format. I'm considering visual storytelling and how these cinematographic techniques could evoke specific moods or direct the reader's attention. I'm now integrating the cinematography concepts into mini-stories, transforming them into a first-person narrative, aiming for a relatable and slightly quirky tone. Specifically, I'm brainstorming how leading lines can represent navigating a confusing situation, like a supermarket or a hallway, while depth of field will symbolize the conscious choice to focus on a single peaceful element amidst chaos, perhaps a coffee mug on a cluttered desk. I'm hoping to create a sense of lightheartedness. I'm now zeroing in on shallow focus, rack focus, and bokeh, fleshing out how these translate into visual metaphors. Shallow focus for me is about letting the world become a soft, sleeping blanket, offering a comforting respite from the chaos. I'm seeing rack focus as a gentle plot twist, a deliberate shift from stress to something silly like a squirrel. And bokeh? It's the champagne of light, transforming the mundane into a sparkling jewelry box. I'm now exploring specific chapters, mapping leading lines to the relatable chaos of a supermarket aisle, depth of field to a deliberate focus on a cookie amidst mental clutter, and shallow focus to a comforting portrait of a cactus. I'm aiming for a self-deprecating, slightly absurd tone to make it fun. My drafts are taking shape, illustrating how these cinematographic concepts can represent everyday experiences. I'm finding the humor in these visual metaphors. I'm presently developing narratives around rack focus and bokeh. A spreadsheet gave way to a sock-wielding dog through rack focus, embodying a shift of focus. For bokeh, I'm transforming a rainy traffic scene into celebratory orbs, a reminder to embrace the sparkle in the mundane, adding an emotional support twist. I'm finding the visual metaphors are adding humor. I was standing in the corridor of the DMV, a place where hope goes to buffer. I felt the familiar creep of anxiety. Where do I go? Who am I? Why are the fluorescent lights buzzing in B-flat? Then I looked down. The tiles. Long grey rectangular tiles stretched out in front of me, converging perfectly at the license renewal counter. I sighed in relief. The architecture was holding my hand. Follow us, the floor whispered. We are the visual arrows of destiny. We will not let you wander into the new registration line by mistake. I followed the lines. They were like a friendly tour guide for my eyeballs, gently ushering me toward my goal. I realized that the world is full of these helpful little vectors, roads, fences, checkout conveyor belts, just trying to point us in the right direction so we don't have to guess. I stepped forward, guided by the grout, feeling supported by geometry. I sat at my desk. It was a landscape of doom, sticky notes, tangled cables, 3 empty mugs, and a menacing tax form. My brain tried to process all of it at once. It hurt. Stop, down, I told my eyes. Wait, no, open up. We need a shallow depth of field. I decided to treat my vision like a lens with an f1.2 aperture. I focused intensely on a single happy object, a small plastic dinosaur sitting on my monitor. Suddenly, the tax form became a vague white blob. The cables became a soft black fuzz. The clutter didn't disappear, but it lost its sharp edges. It could no longer hurt me. Depth of field is the cinematic equivalent of saying, I acknowledge that the mess exists, but I am choosing to only perceive this dinosaur right now. It's a kindness to your own brain to blur out the noise. I was filming my friend Sarah, telling a story in my living room. Behind her was a pile of laundry I had been ignoring for 3 business days. I twisted the lens ring, shallow focus. Sarah's face became crisp and radiant. The laundry pile behind her dissolved into a creamy, abstract painting of blues and greys. Look at that, I thought, the laundry is taking a nap. Shallow focus allows the background to relax. It tells the environment, you don't have to perform right now, you can just be soft colours. It was a relief to know I could turn my domestic failures into aesthetic texture just by changing. I've been analysing these cinematography concepts: low angle, bird's eye, worm's eye, the rule of thirds, and the golden ratio. I'm considering how each influences visual storytelling and impacts viewer perception. My focus is on effectively using these techniques to enhance my narrative's impact and aesthetic. I'm starting a chapter-by-chapter draft in a soft novel style, narrated in the first person with gentle humor about emotional well-being. My latest thought, I'm exploring the low-angle shot for the pajama hero sequence. It's about self-esteem boost through geometry. The camera is on the floor, and me, wearing bunny slippers, is the conqueror. I visualize my double chin as the jawline of destiny. It's becoming pretty funny. The ceiling fan is a halo. I'm now contemplating the bird's eye view, imagining a Lego disaster. I climbed on a chair, safety third, of course, to get the perspective. From above, the chaos has an artistic quality, a god's perspective on plastic bricks. Shifting gears, I'm considering the worm's eye view, lying in the grass, feeling tiny. A beetle became a commuter in my novel's garden scene. I've been trying to ground myself with a mulch mediation and find the best framing for a selfie struggle. Initially, centering felt too formal. Shifting to the rule of thirds felt like freedom. It provides breathability and allows my anxiety to dissipate. Now the third line feels candidly mysterious, much better than a mugshot. I just realized the Fibonacci sequence is in the swirl of my pastry. It's delicious math, finally something relatable. This mathematically perfect snack makes the universe feel organized, even comforting. Now I have a new scene for my soft novel with a math-obsessed baker. I woke up feeling small. Not physically, I was the same height as yesterday, but emotionally, I felt like a teaspoon in a world of ladles. I needed a boost. I placed my camera on the floor, lens pointing sharply upward. I stepped into the frame, hands on hips, wearing my robe and my saddest socks. On the monitor, I transformed. The camera looked up at me with reverence. My legs looked miles long. My head seemed to brush the stratosphere. Even the ceiling fan looked like a halo crowning my glory. I am the skyscraper of self-esteem, I told the room. The low angle is a lie detector that tells you a nice lie, that you are powerful, imposing, and ready to conquer the emails. I stood there for a minute, looming over the lens, letting the angle inflate my ego until I felt tall enough to reach the top shelf of my own potential. I dropped a bag of M&Ms. They scattered across the hardwood floor in a riot of color. My first instinct was to sigh the heavy sigh of the clumsy. Instead, I dragged over the stepladder. I climbed up and looked down. From the stratosphere of the ceiling, the mess wasn't a cleanup on aisle 4. It was modern art. The red and blue candies formed a pleasing constellation against the oak. It looked like a galaxy map made of chocolate. This is a choice, I decided. This is an installation piece titled Sugar Rush in D minor. Distance creates beauty. From high enough up, even a traffic jam looks like a sparkling river of red and white lights. And from my ladder, my clumsiness looked like a masterpiece. I admired it for a solid minute before eating the art. I remained on the floor since I was already there eating M&Ms. I pressed my cheek against the floorboards. Down here, the world is different. A lost staple looked like a silver bridge. A dust bunny looked like a tumbleweed rolling across the plains of the kitchen. "Hello, floor," I whispered. "You support me every day, and I never say thanks." The worm's eye view is a lesson in humility. It reminds you that even the pavement has feelings, or at least textures. It forces you to get low, slow down, and appreciate the architecture of the underworld. I felt a deep kinship with the dust bunny. We're both just drifting through, trying to stay fluffy in a hard world. I tried to take a selfie. I held the phone dead center in front of my face. I looked like a passport photo for a person who has seen a ghost. It was too intense, too symmetrical. Shift it, I coached myself. I moved the phone so my eye aligned with the intersection of the imaginary grid lines, the top right third. Suddenly the image relaxed. I'm currently fleshing out the cinematography roles with a novel approach. My goal is to capture the essence of each position, going beyond the typical definitions. I'm focusing on the soft novel format for directors of photography, gaffers, grips, camera operators, and focus pullers. The challenge is to maintain clarity while injecting a novelistic touch. I'm aiming for unique characterizations within the cinematic world. I'm now zeroing in on defining the cinematographer roles further. My thoughts are gravitating toward a humorous tone and cozy vibe, focusing on emotional well-being. I'm exploring the roles, such as the director of photography, gaffer, and grip. The current direction has the director of photography as the narrator's internal monologue, the gaffer as a source of light, and the grip as the physical body. Currently, I'm thinking about the camera operator, seeing them as the dancer of the team, present in the moment and navigating physical space. I'm also exploring the focus puller, equating them to the part of my brain that prioritizes information. The key grip represents a steadying presence when I'm weary. I'm revisiting the roles. The gaffer is the act of turning on a lamp, the let there be light moment. My chair, the best boy grip, supports me, a feeling of safety. The camera operator is the physical dance, framing the morning without shaking, similar to dancing with a cat. I visualize the focus puller as hunting for sharpness, finding relief when things click. I'm now contemplating the gaffer's role. I see the sun as the head gaffer, with clouds functioning as diffusion. My skeleton represents the grip department, and the floor provides the essential support. I'm imagining navigating a kitchen as the camera operator, and the focus puller is the mental shift from worry to waffles. I have a director in my head. He is loud, anxious, and constantly shouting things like, "We are doomed, the script is a tragedy, the lighting is too grey." But then there is my internal DP, the director of photography. The DP is the artist. The DP looks at the director's panic and says calmly, "I hear you, but what if we lit this tragedy with a warm amber backlight?" Today, the director screamed, "It's raining, ruined." My internal DP whispered, "Actually, look at the reflections in the puddle. Look at the texture on the window. We can work with this. We can make it moody and romantic." The DP translates the chaos of life into a visual language I can handle. Being your own DP means looking at a messy room and deciding it's not a disaster, it's an atmospheric set design. It's a very powerful position to hold. I sat in the gloom of 4:00 p.m. The sun had quit for the day. My energy was fading. "We're losing the light," I cried out to the empty room. Then I stood up and walked to the floor lamp. I was acting as my own gaffer. The gaffer is the head of the lighting department. They bring the voltage. I clicked the switch. Click. A warm 60-watt glow bathed the sofa. "Let there be light," I said, feeling biblical and cozy. We often forget we have the power to change the atmosphere. We are the gaffers of our own evenings. We can dim the harsh lights of stress. We can switch on the soft lamps of comfort. I thanked the lamp, my best boy electric, and basked in the artificial sunshine. I flopped onto the couch. It caught me, it held me, it didn't complain. "Thank you, key grip," I mumbled into the cushion. The grip department handles the support, the stands, the rigs, the safety. In my life, the grips are the floor, which has never dropped me, not once, the chair, which supports my posture, and my own skeleton, which is doing a great job against gravity. Acknowledging the grips means acknowledging that I am supported. I am not floating in a void. I am held up by a network of sturdy things. The ground is solid. The chair is strong. My knees are trying their best. It's nice to know the equipment is holding steady. I navigated the living room in the dark to get water. I dodged the coffee table. I sidestepped the cat. I pirouetted around the laundry basket. I was the camera operator. The operator holds the heavy camera and moves with grace, executing the dance of the shot. If they stumble, the audience feels it. I moved with liquid smoothness. I didn't stub a toe. I felt the flow of the room. It was 6:45 p.m. The sun dropped low, and suddenly the harsh white daylight melted into liquid gold. I ran to the window. Golden hour. For 20 minutes, the sun stops screaming and starts whispering sweet nothings. It's nature's way of apologizing for the sunburn it gave you at noon. I pointed my camera at the most mundane thing I could find, my neighbor's recycling bin. Bathed in that warm, horizontal light, the blue plastic bin didn't look like trash storage. It looked like a nostalgic memory from a childhood summer. It looked heroic. It looked like it held secrets rather than cardboard boxes. Golden hour is a cheat code for happiness. It wraps the world in a warm, amber hug. I stood in the driveway, letting the light hit my face, feeling like I was in the montage sequence of a movie where everything is finally going to be okay. If I could bottle this light, I'd drink it instead of coffee. The gold faded. The sun dipped below the horizon. The world didn't go dark immediately. It turned a deep, rich indigo. If golden hour is a hug, blue hour is a soft, cooling gel pack for your soul. The birds stopped yelling. The traffic noise seemed to dampen. The streetlights flickered on, glowing orange against the twilight. I I sat on the porch step. The camera sensor loves this light. It's moody and serene. It feels like the visual equivalent of a mint lozenge. It told me the show is over, the drama is done, time to unbutton the jeans and exhale. I filmed the silhouette of the power lines against the navy sky. It was quiet, it was peaceful. I felt my internal RPMs dropping from anxious hummingbird to sleepy manatee. I was brushing my teeth, feeling distinctly unartistic. Then I noticed the bathroom sconce casting a shadow across my nose. I turned my head slightly to the right. There it was, a perfect inverted triangle of light on my shadowed cheek. Suddenly, I wasn't just a person in pajamas. I was a 17th century Dutch oil painting. I possessed gravitas. I looked brooding and intellectual. I looked like I was pondering the fleeting nature of existence, rather than wondering if I needed to buy more floss. I stared into the mirror, transfixed. This lighting style creates instant depth and character. It creates a window to the soul triangle. I gave my reflection a solemn nod. "You are a masterpiece," I whispered. Then I spit out the toothpaste, ruining the moment but retaining the self-esteem. I bought smart bulbs. This was a mistake, or perhaps a revolution. I sat on the couch feeling jittery. The lights were set to daylight, 5600 Kelvin. A crisp, cool blue-white. It felt like an office. It felt like I should be filing taxes. "Nope," I said, and tapped my phone. I slid the slider down to 3200 Kelvin. The room flooded with warm, orange, tungsten-style light. Instantly, my shoulders dropped 3 inches. The room felt like a campfire. The emotional thermostat had shifted from clinical efficiency to cozy hibernation. It's amazing how a few degrees of Kelvin can change the narrative. Cool light wakes you up, warm light tucks you in. I spent the rest of the evening sliding the bar back and forth, giving myself visual whiplash before settling on a nice warm candlelight setting. I am a simple creature. Give me orange light, and I am happy. I looked at my living room. It was a riot of chaos. A red blanket, a green mug, a purple cat toy. It looked like a clown had exploded. "We need a color palette," I declared. "Great films pick a lane. They stick to a specific group of colors to evoke a feeling. Wes Anderson loves pastels. The Matrix loves green. I decided my life's genre was now earth tones and teal. I hid the red blanket. I moved the purple toy. I arranged a teal pillow next to a brown pot. I looked through the viewfinder. Harmony. The scene felt cohesive. It felt intentional. It felt like I had my life together. Of course, the cat immediately dragged the purple toy back into the center of the rug, ruining the aesthetic. But for 5 minutes, I lived in a curated world where the colors matched my mood and everything felt dressed for success. I decided to count it as a win. Life is messy, but at least my pillows match my plants. My living room looked like a laundry bomb had detonated. Just looking at the pile of socks made my spirit heavy. In real time, folding laundry is a tragedy of boredom. So I set up the camera. I set the intervalometer to take 1 photo every 5 seconds, time lapse. I spent an hour folding. It felt slow. It felt like eternity. But when I played the clip back, magic. The video was 10 seconds long. In it, I was a blur of hyper-efficient energy. The clothes folded themselves. The socks marched into the drawer like little soldiers. The room went from disaster to magazine cover in a heartbeat. Time lapses teach us that the slog is an illusion. When you zoom out and speed up, you realize that even when you feel stuck in the slow moments, you are actually making incredible progress. I watched my tiny fast-forward self zip around and thought, wow, look at them go. They've got this. And apparently, I did. I went outside. The world was blindingly white. I squinted. Overexposed, I went into my closet to hide. It was gloomy and sad, underexposed. "I need to fix my exposure," I muttered, stepping into the gentle shade of the porch. Exposure is the art of letting in the right amount of light. If I let in too much, say by saying yes to 5 social events, I get blown out. I lose my details. I become a washed out white blob of stress. If I let in too little, by becoming a hermit, I get crushed into the shadows. I adjusted my internal aperture. I found the middle ground, the middle grey of existence, a little bit of sun, a little bit of shade, a nice balance where I was bright enough to be seen, but not so bright I was burning out my retinas. Perfect exposure is just comfortable. I woke up grumpy. The whole world looked vaguely orange and irritating. My coffee looked muddy, my cat looked judgmental. Okay, that's normal. My white balance is off, I realized. My internal camera was tinted to annoyed tungsten. I grabbed a plain white paper napkin and stared at it. This is white, I told my brain. This is neutral, this is the baseline. White balance is about telling the camera what true looks like so it can render the other colors correctly. I took a breath, I recalibrated. If the napkin is white, then the world isn't actually an irritating orange. It's just morning light. The coffee isn't muddy, it's rich brown. Finding your baseline is essential, otherwise you go through the whole day thinking everyone is cool, blue, towards you, when really you just forgot to switch your settings from cloudy to sunny. It was a dark evening, not just outside, but inside my head. I felt fragile. I felt like I was noticing every little noise, every weird look, every awkward silence. My ISO is cranked up to 6400, I noted. When you boost a camera's ISO, the sensor becomes incredibly sensitive to light. It can see in the dark, but the trade-off is noise or grain. The image gets fuzzy and speckled. That was me. I was sensitive enough to see in the dark, which is a superpower, but the side effect was emotional grain. I felt staticky. Instead of fighting it, I accepted the texture. It's a grainy night, I told myself, and that's okay. Film grain is aesthetic. Being sensitive allows you to pick up on subtle things others miss. So what if the image isn't perfectly clean? It has character. I wrapped myself in a blanket, embraced the noise, and used my night vision to find the chocolate stash. I walked into the kitchen to make toast. I bumped my hip on the counter. I tripped over the dog. I reached for the butter and knocked over the salt. Terrible blocking, I critiqued. Who directed this scene? Blocking is the choreography of a scene, knowing exactly where to stand and when to move so you don't collide with the scenery or the dog. I decided to reblock the scene. Action, enter kitchen. Mark 1, stand by fridge, remove butter. Mark 2, pivot left, avoid dog, insert bread. I performed the movement with intention. It was a dance. I didn't hit the counter. I didn't kick the dog. The toast popped up exactly as I pirouetted back to the plate. Life is so much smoother when you stop crashing into the props. I felt like a graceful dancer, even though I was just a person eating carbs in pajamas. A well-blocked morning is a masterpiece. I'm currently fleshing out how cinematography principles translate to a first-person soft novel format. The humor element, particularly the use of soft jokes tied to emotional well-being, is a core consideration as I navigate this. The shot list chapter is moving quickly, it's taking shape. Translating overwhelming tasks into film vocabulary is proving surprisingly effective in creating that sense of control. I'm aiming for the mundane tasks to feel epic. The contrast should be a good source of humor. The storyboard chapter is developing as well, focusing on hand-drawn visuals of dreams or plans. I'm presently envisioning a perfect Sunday scenario, framing it through crude stick figures. The idea is to turn the mundane into something visual and engaging. My stick figures are comically bad, which I believe will generate levity and humor. The napping stick figure specifically looks like a dead beetle, yet it's the intention that matters. Now I'm structuring a storyboard with a bagel and nap. It is kind of effective. I've been feeling down, so I'm playing detective in my head, a la the 1940s. I'm using classic noir tropes, a femme fatale, my cat, a smoking gun, lint, and shadowy lighting. Even pouring a drink feels stylized, chocolate milk. It's a fun way to process sadness and boredom. I'm now diving into chapter 77, German Expressionism, focusing on distorted visuals to represent inner turmoil. A messy room seems like the perfect setting, evoking a jagged nightmare. I'm playing with angles to convey claustrophobia, like walls closing in, and the humor comes from acknowledging that my anxiety warps things into a funhouse mirror. The laundry pile becoming a goblin is the kind of image I'm seeking. I'm making sure my distorted visuals don't veer into outright horror. The laundry goblin idea's evolution into a mere coat rack is a critical adjustment. I am constantly checking to ensure I'm adhering to the soft joke constraints. Acknowledging my emotions, I am now focused on an emotional safety net. I keep the yes, it feels jagged concept. I woke up and the day loomed over me like a monster. I had 3 errands, a phone call, and a sink full of dishes. My brain shouted, impossible. So I grabbed my clipboard. I didn't write a to-do list, scary. I wrote a shot list. Suddenly, the day wasn't a mountain. It was just a series of camera setups. I don't have to clean the whole kitchen, I told myself. I just need to get the insert shot of the soap hitting the sponge. Crossing off the shots gave me a dopamine hit. That's a wrap on scene one, I announced to the mirror. Breaking life down into cinematic bite-sized pieces makes the terrifying blockbuster of adulting feel like a manageable student film. I wanted to have a relaxing Saturday, but I was worried I'd accidentally waste it doom scrolling. I needed a visual aid. I grabbed a napkin and a Sharpie. I drew 3 boxes. In the first box, I drew a stick figure, me, holding a circle, a bagel. The stick figure looked like a spider, but he looked happy. In the second box, I drew the stick figure horizontal on a rectangle, the couch, with z's floating above. In the third box, I drew the stick figure walking a smaller 4-legged stick figure, the dog. I stared at my masterpiece. It wasn't high art, but it was a contract with myself. This is the vision, I whispered. We are executing the bagel, nap, walk trilogy. Visualizing the day made it feel real before it even happened. It was a roadmap to happiness drawn in wobbly ink. And let me tell you, when I finally ate that bagel, it tasted exactly like the circle I had drawn. Victory. It was a rainy afternoon. The shadows were long. My mood was grey. Instead of fighting the gloom, I decided to lean into the genre. I lowered the blinds. I put on a jazz record. I narrated my internal monologue in a gravelly voice. The rain lashed against the glass like 1,000 tiny drummers. I muttered. I was looking for the remote. It was gone. Vanished, like my motivation to exercise. I walked into the kitchen. The cat looked at me from the shadows. She knows something, I thought. She's a femme fatale in a fur coat.